Hello, darlings, and welcome to my podcast, Treading the Boards to Business, where we talk all things from sparkle and spotlight to the boardroom and beyond. My name is Shelley Otway-Wood, former actress, singer and dancer, and now CEO of Stepping Out Stars of Tomorrow Theatre School, The Costume Cupboard, and Dance and Performing Arts Business Coach. I am going to share with you some fantastic showbiz stories with my friends and colleagues about their careers in performing arts and beyond. So let's open these curtains and step into the spotlight. How are you? It's so nice to see you.
I'm good.
So, I met Jess. I'm trying to think. Was it at the Best Women Awards, or was it at the Dance Business Conference, or was it at a business award? I can't remember.
I think we had the best chat at the Dance Business Conference. I think we chatted then. But
But the first time I saw
possibly
you, you were on stilts.
that sounds pretty standard to me, yeah.
Because, obviously you have those normal conversations where, I'm only 5'3" as it is, and there's stilts, and you were like on these amazing stilts walking around. I was like,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that definitely sounds like me.
So tell me about your background, because obviously I know you. Hang on, I haven't even put my mic round. I know you're from a kind of business point of view, but I don't know. Was your background in the circus?
So I was a professional performer. I went to Bird College and
Oh,
I did
okay.
theatre. So I left Bird College and I did like cabarets in Paris, in Benidorm Palace, cruise ships, musical theatre. And then I got on like a corporate agency's books, and she just was like, I can pay you more the more skills you can do. So if you want to learn to stilt walk, I can pay you more money. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a plan. So
Right.
I learned how to stilt walk, hula hoop, fire breathe, do aerial hoop, aerial silts. And then along the way, like I got put on more and more different circus jobs, and I met loads of circus people, and it was like, you teach me this and I'll teach you this. So it's like an exchange of skills. So then they taught me how to juggle and do poi and all of these other things. So yeah, it was very much started off as a dancer's journey and then added all of these strings to my bow after that.
Because adding the strings to your bow as a dancer is something that's really important, isn't it? Because as dancers and as performers, it's you're always taught, add things to your CV, try and do extra things. And with things like stilt walking and fire eating and all the crazy things you do, that's almost like we've had a stunt person on actually, but it's almost like going down the stunt route, isn't it? Almost a completely separate skill set to your performing side of things. Have you spent more time doing your circus tricks and that kind of side more than you did your dance?
I think I would say I definitely earned more money doing the circus side of it. And that was
Hmm.
a massive pull for it because at one event, like there'd be two aerialists and there'd be 10 dancers. So, we would get paid a lot more than the dancers would. And
Yeah.
so you would hold out for those jobs, you would train for those jobs. So definitely money wise, I think, but obviously dance contracts are very long, whereas the circus contracts that I did were always just corporate one-off
A
nights
day, yeah.
or like a festival where it's 3 days in a row. Whereas a dance contract can be a year long, can't it? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time wise, probably more dance, but if I was to actually look back, I reckon probably money wise, circus.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Have you ever seen Gifford Circus?
Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. So I went with some friends, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's honestly, if those of you who are listening, if you ever get a chance to go and see it, it is one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen. Just absolutely great. I mean, the little clown and
Yeah.
some of the performers just so talented.
But it's so good, and like what I love most about circus is there's so many skills. So you can take three kids. One kid would love the aerialist, one would love the clown, and one would love the motorbike cycling round and round and round. Like so, it's like there's so much that appeals to all different children, and that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. I went to see O in Vegas. Have
Yes,
you ever seen any of this?
I
I mean, I'm
haven't.
sure you've seen
I've
some of
seen
the
Sight to
stuff.
Slay, but I've not seen Oh no.
Oh, it was incredible.
Oh,
It was, I think, probably the best thing I've ever seen. It was,
Wow.
and you kind of go, I mean, I love going to the circus and I love all that side because I just like watching anything. But if I was to pick going to see in a musical or going to watch a circus, I would go and see the musical because that's where my heart is.
Yeah.
But going to Vegas and seeing O, I was just like, oh yeah, we're going to see that. It really wasn't something that I was like, oh, let's go to Vegas and go and see this production. Like I might have gone to New York and seen Little Shop of Horrors because I knew Little
Yes.
Shop was on there. Um, but there it was so it was just incredible. And even as the curtains opened and the curtains like raveled up, and then you just saw this pool, like a swimming pool, and people just walking on it, and you're like, how are they walking on a swimming pool?
Yeah. So straight away you're like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. So tell us how you, because obviously you're a franchisor now,
Yes.
and so tell us how you kind of got out of the performing corporate role into the business that side of things, because that's really exciting and it's a huge, obviously there are lots of franchisors and franchises out there. I've been part of a franchise as well. And there's lots and lots of competition on that side of things, being a franchisor, isn't there? But I don't know of any other circus ones.
No, so I started the circus school as like a side hustle, I imagine, like you would say. So just birthday parties and holiday camps to go alongside my performing. At the time, I had no plans to retire. And I was like in Tina Turner, the musical, on stage in front of 5,000 people. And then I came home and I was like, I have literally nothing. So I started that up.
Yeah.
And then the demand just grew and grew. And, life, it turned into a whole school. So I ended up having 4 days a week, packed out classes. It was just jam packed. And
And
then,
how did it start? Was it just because obviously it's not like myself where I just kind of set up in a village hall one day. You can't do that with circus because you need the equipment and you need the space and you need, I would imagine you can't just stick a beam in a village hall
yeah,
and hang from it.
yeah.
How did you even find somewhere that could accommodate those kind of skills?
So luckily for me, they had started doing like a mobile setup that you could get in your car, and it's kind of like a big swing set. Take it out, you set it all up.
Oh wow.
So I just bought with my paycheck from Tina. I bought myself a rig, and the aerial hoop and silks, and then I actually hand stitched loads of juggling balls out of an old skirt with some rice and some stuff in to get myself going. And that's how it started off. So I hired the hall, and I hired the one that I knew had a massive musical theatre dance school in it, because I thought kind of the same audience, dance kids. They're
Yeah,
doing holiday
definitely. And
camps.
did that work?
It
Were
did
you
work.
right?
The first holiday camp sold out in like 5 days, and the Greatest Showman came out at the same time. So I do have to say, I think a
Oh my
lot of that was
goodness.
like
I mean, we're doing The Greatest Showman again at the moment.
amazing.
And the year that The Greatest Showman came out, we had our biggest summer school we've ever had.
Yeah,
It was absolutely incredible that year, wasn't it?
yeah, it was amazing. So I think that really helped us sell out straight away. And then, yeah, it was just phenomenal. The kids that we had were amazing. They just didn't want to say, okay, see you in summer. They were like, no, Jess, we want to see you every week. So that's where the school started. And then that sort of started taking over my performing life as well. And I did more and more teaching and less performing.
And then okay, franchising then. So you had almost this bulletproof business that had obviously worked. How long did you run it for before you decided, you know what, I could make some real money about with this and franchise it out? Because franchising is a massive step, isn't it? I looked at it and it is a huge, huge step. And I went on a few courses and I actually decided not to franchise in the end. But I really admire you for doing that because I think I would find it quite hard that I'm not in control as much of the standards and things because that must be hard.
Yeah, so my journey was a little bit different, but I do have to say that the reason why I did it was because I knew I'd created something amazing. And
Yeah.
the feedback from the parents was just that it was life changing for those children. They finally had somewhere that they could be themselves. Like they'd never found a club before where they could be themselves. And I was just my idea of franchising didn't come from, look how much money I could make from this. It came from, I would love for there to be pockets all around the UK where children felt like this, like the parents were able to feed this back, because there's something to be said about children on screens and on, you know, the education system right now, where certain children just do not fit in and don't find their tribe. And you know, and I created something where that was all the feedback I was getting, was my child has found somewhere where they belong, and I didn't want to keep that
So
where
lovely.
I was based. So that's where it came from. Wasn't really money driven, it was definitely impact driven.
More passion.
Really
Yeah.
and passion. But then personal circumstances as well, I had to move away from where I'd set it up, and then COVID happened, so all of the sort of things aligned much faster than I think traditionally if you were going to franchise something. COVID happened and I was just in the back garden on courses learning how to franchise my business, right? Because I had nothing else to do. So it happened a lot faster than I think it would have otherwise. And then again, life, you know, I piloted somebody in my original school that worked really well. And then I opened another one and piloted somebody else in that one that worked really well. And so we franchised it from there. And we grew massively. We've got 19 franchises and it's been 2 years. So it's grown massively.
19.
20 as of tomorrow.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really good.
Yeah, it grew massively. And like on that note, people do come to me all the time and say, I want to franchise my business. So that is something I now sort of help people do. It's just a 1-day thing where they can come and they'll just bash it all out. So that is something I can offer people because it's hard. And as you said, like, yeah, there's lots to learn, and you can pay thousands for the advice, but real life advice is much more valuable, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so how do you manage, and this is what I would struggle with, how do you manage ensuring that your ethos is scattered through all your franchisees, but also how you maintain those standards? Because I know you well enough that, you know, you're always very well turned out, you always look nice and smart, your brand's very vibrant and, you know, exciting. You know, obviously, I know you're saying it's not for money, but now obviously it has to make money. Otherwise, what's the point? But you know, how do you kind of create that? How do you embed that?
So I love that it's a franchise, and this is where I think franchise models really work. And maybe there is a bit of a stigma around franchising, but I do believe this works. Every franchisee is their own business. So they want their own business to succeed, and they know that the magic formula to that is everything I'm giving them. So
Yeah.
just like, that's a no-brainer. This school is going to thrive if I follow what Jess has said. They follow what I said. They see the results, and then they're like, "Oh, that worked. I'm going to try something else. Oh, that worked. I'll try." You know, so it's their business. They're proud of it. They want it to be amazing, and they take on everything that we talk about in monthly meetings. We have a franchise conference where we all get together.
Lovely.
So, you know, they get to put everything that I think and say and do and all of our ethos into what they do. It's their business. They own it. They're building an asset. And that to me is the magic of franchising, because I always say, think of your exit plan like that. And I hold my hands up, you know, you're signing this franchise agreement for 5 years. What's your exit plan? Do you want to carry on? Do you want to build it to a business that's really saleable and you make a lot of money and sell it in 5 years? What's your exit plan? And I'm very open about that, because I think the bigger they build and use, you only get out of a franchise what you put in, right? So if you,
absolutely.
You know, if you take everything I give, which is far more than I probably should, I give blood, sweat, and tears into everyone. If you take all of that, you will be successful. And you know, even if you don't, and you only take a little tiny slither, then you'll still do exactly what you want to do with it. So we've got some schools that just do 1 day a week classes. They're perfectly happy. We've got some schools that are 4 or 5 days a week, absolutely rammed. And that's like full time.
And when you say a school, how does that work? Does it, because obviously, when I looked at franchising my business, I would be selling it as dance, drama, singing classes with, you know, add-on ballet, add-on tap, add-on singing, you know, how does that work with your business model?
So with my business model, it is very much the class. It's a syllabus that is in 3 different age group of classes. and then they can add on whatever they want from there. So we have popcorns is the baby class, big tops and high flyers, and they follow our circus syllabus that rotates over 12 weeks. And then if they wanted to add on aerial classes, they can do beginner into advanced aerial classes. If they want to add on acro, they can. If they want to add on our new preschool popcorn syllabus that we've got for the babies, or an after school club syllabus we have, they can add that on. So you can go from doing one night a week popcorns, big tops, high flyers, to doing after school club every other night, baby classes in the morning, school workshops. You get loads of bookings for school workshops, especially come now as people are looking for PGL and things like that. Loads of birthday parties, and obviously holiday camps as well. So it keeps everyone busy.
Yeah. And so you've got 19 actual branches at the moment. Well, sorry, 20 tomorrow. And do a lot of those franchisees have multi-territories? How did you actually kind of segregate all the territories out? Because that's quite interesting.
Yeah, the territories are just by postcode, and it's around 90,000 people in that postcode.
Okay.
And the idea is that it doesn't run from one place. The idea is that it runs from one central place, and then you take your equipment and you go into a school, go into another school, do a workshop down the road, do this, do this, do this. And then as you grow, then you can have workshops or holiday camps in here and in here in your territory, and you grow from there. So it's very much like you can just do it from one place if you want, but it's supposed to be out in the community and getting everyone in the whole territory involved in what you're offering.
Yeah, no, I see that. And where do you see yourself going with it in kind of, like you say, the 5 years is a long time. Do you feel that you'll just want to just keep going and expanding and take over the world with all these lovely circuses all over the place? Or do you feel like, actually I've got my 20 and I'm quite happy with that, and knowing you're not happy with 20, are
I
you?
love how it's growing. Like I think world domination is the way forward. It's growing now into something I'm really proud of. Like it's not just classes, it's not just classes, it's a whole brand. Like we're known, we've got this panda and this elephant, and when everyone asks where the panda is if it's not at our events, like we're becoming really well known for not having our elephant. And so it's becoming this whole brand, and I want to be a household name. So it's like when someone thinks of circus, they go Showtime Circus.
I
And
love
that's what
that.
I want. That's what I envisage. But also, as I said before, I am loving speaking to other business owners who are in my position and helping them do the same thing, because they're not competition with me. Because no, I'm not going to help someone franchise a circus school. But if somebody's interested, I sort of love that I am getting known for being the person who's franchised businesses as well, and people are
Because
coming.
that's almost like another kind of revenue for you, almost, isn't it? Kind
Yeah,
of helping people franchise, because there's not a huge. I mean, when I looked at it, I mean, it's quite a while ago that I looked at doing it for me, but I found it quite hard to find where you go to for advice of setting
yeah.
up a franchise.
Yeah, and it's, to be honest, it's hard to get real life advice. You can pay thousands for consultants who haven't franchised a business. And I just think, I'm here and I don't gatekeep. And if we went for a cup of coffee, I would tell you, I'll tell you everything, Shelley. Like, we're recording this for a podcast, so we won't go into it, but we'll have another chat all about franchising. I don't gatekeep anything, and I don't like it. And I do think that sometimes it's a bit just disjointed what advice you can be given when you've actually got something in the real life world. And I do like to say, like, if I can franchise a circus school, you can franchise anything.
So with franchising, we have to, because obviously we're talking about this quite a lot, and wasn't actually how I thought the conversation
No,
was.
sorry, I'm taking it
No,
up on
no,
one.
no, no, not at all. It's really interesting. But with franchising, there is a lot of negativity around it. I mean, I've been there. I had a franchise. It wasn't great at times. Equally, it was amazing at times, how do you how do you manage people like me who are like, can we do this? Can we do this? What about this bit? Can we add this in? Because I probably am a franchisor's nightmare, because I just want the next thing to be added in yesterday.
Yeah. So I love this conversation and question, because somebody who worked in McDonald's invented the Big Mac. It wasn't Mr. McDonald, right? So if every franchisor thought, I'm not going to listen to what anyone else's ideas, I know everything.
Yeah.
I would never have grown. Like, I would never be where I am now if I didn't listen to what my franchisees wanted or needed, or even the teachers. Like, we now have this amazing app because one of the franchisees was telling me how hard she found it to learn everything the way that I was presenting it. She's got a different brain to us. She's ADHD, neurodiverse.
Okay. Yeah.
So obviously attracts quite a lot of that. And that really made me think this has to be accessible for everyone. Now there's an app that you can click a bit, literal click of a button, and you've got your lesson plan in front of you. So it's like listening to your franchisees, asking what they want, and also through circumstance, not through choice, I would say that, because I think I would absolutely love to have my own school, but through circumstance, I don't have my own school now. So I have to listen to my teachers. I have to listen to my franchisees. They're the ones who are in the forefront teaching my classes. And I always, whenever I get a chance to go and cover a class, I will go and do it because I love to see what's happening on the ground. But I have to listen to them. And as I said before, it goes back into that's their business. So, you know,
and I think that's a really lovely point, because when I had a franchise, I never felt like it was my own business ever. I really didn't. And I felt like I had to ask everything, and was this okay? And am I allowed to do this? And I would be quite scared about asking things. And I think that's really sad that actually I went into something thinking that it was going to be, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't all bad. It really wasn't. And my school was very, very, very successful. It wasn't the success side of it. It was that I felt very pushed, like kind of trampled on a little bit, like I felt like I couldn't be creative. And I think, when I came out of my franchise, I think in that first year, I put on a show in a theatre. We did Disneyland Paris. We performed at Blackpool Tower. We did a pantomime, all the things that I wasn't allowed to do in part of my franchise. And what I think I achieved in the 6 months that I came out of it, I achieved more in that 6 months than what I did in the 5 years in the franchise, because I'd almost learned everything that I felt like I could in the franchise. And I think that's lovely that you really listen to your franchisees, because somebody like me, had I have been listened to, I probably would still have my franchise now.
That's I think it's so important. And I'm one of those people who is like, somebody says, can I do this? Yes, hang on, we've got to think about it. Like, like that's me. And sometimes, it takes a bit longer and a little bit more thought than the initial, oh my goodness, that's a great idea. But it definitely is like, yes, that's a great idea. And I know that franchisees bring things to me because I have messages left, right, and centre saying, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? So, hopefully they don't feel that way. And if they do and they're listening, please reach out. Definitely not the case.
Actually, going on to that note, because actually I don't think I've done, this is my 5th podcast. It's still very, very new. We haven't actually launched it yet. It should hopefully launch next week. But we haven't had a podcast where I've not talked about Kim Rogers.
Okay.
So and obviously you would have met Kim at Dance Business Conference and things. And I would be really interested to know, and this is a very Kim Rogers question, she's going to laugh when she listens to this back. When you are scaling that amount of franchisees and dealing with not just, have you still got your school now, or did you sell it?
No. So I've sold one of them.
Yeah.
I still sort of manage one, but I've got a manager in place. So really, it's legally under my name, but she does everything else.
Sure. Because I remember when we spoke a while ago, you were like, I've got my school, I've got my franchise, I've got my events company, I've got so much.
Yeah.
And you've got a baby who's a year old?
18 months. He is
18 months. Oh my goodness, that's gone so quickly.
Yeah.
But how do you manage your own sanity in all of this? Because I run performing arts school, I coach, and I've got my costume company. That's mental, but I don't have a child as well under 18. My little girl's 14, and that's hard enough.
Yeah.
But how do you manage all of that, Jess? How?
Time blocking.
You love a bit of a time block, do you? Good for you.
Time blocking and like grounded. So like, grounded, feet on the floor, deep breaths to ground me for anything serious, or I've got to thinking. But music, I just had music on before this podcast. So I just had really upbeat music on because I was like, well, this is like a fun thing that's coming next. So let's listen to
Yeah.
a good song and prance it out for a bit. So definitely like time blocking and childcare.
Oh,
Yeah, just routine, structure, systems. CRM, my CRM's phenomenal. Without it, I think I would fall apart.
yeah. And
Uh,
that's so funny, isn't it? How things like that have evolved because I've had my how long have you been doing your actual business for? Like from the day you
8 years.
started? 8. So it's still fairly
Yeah.
new. Um, but my school's been running for 18.
Wow.
And so when I started my business, it was very different. You put an advert in a magazine and everybody came.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is great. But that just doesn't happen now. It's changed so much. And the back end and the CRM and the database and the Trello and
Yeah.
we didn't have any of that when we started.
No, and I think because there's so much noise on social media, there's people have to trust you. They can't just see a poster now and go, oh, that looks like a nice dance school. It's who runs it, what's she like? Would I trust them with my child? And who's that
Yeah.
person that runs that? It's very much a dig into you as a person that runs that business now, as opposed to a pretty poster that people go to. And I think people need to trust you and trust what you're doing to book their child in.
Yeah, I think that's really key, isn't it? Because and actually trying to and we I mean I speak about this a lot with coaching, but trying to replicate yourself, which obviously you're doing every day with franchising, but when you're trying to replicate yourself to run the school, that can be very challenging for people, can't it? Because to try and create another Jess or another Shelley in either business is hard.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, this is where the idea for franchising came from because I set up a new class. This is years ago, like 7 years ago. Set up a new class, but I knew it was never going to be me teaching it because it was on a Thursday in a place I couldn't get to because I'd already had another class. So I knew it was going to be somebody else teaching it. And stupidly, I did the first few classes. So then when it wasn't me and it was the new teacher, they were like, oh, but it's not Jolly Jess.
And she's not on her stilts. Where's
She's
her
not
stilts
still.
gone?
But then when I was like, do you know what? I'm going to set up new classes on a Monday, but I'm not going. I'm not going to go. They're not going to know who I am. It's just instantly that new person. Then they
Yeah.
know and like and trust that new person. Then you see, and they're not like, oh, she's gone. I don't want to go anymore. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's sort of where franchising is as well. Like when you go to Skelmersdale, you don't expect to see Jolly Jess. You know it's Neon Nadine, who's also just a baby, and you know it's her, and you love her, and that's why you go to that one. So that's why I love like franchising because they each have their own, and they're allowed to not allowed to because I hate pretending I give them any sort of rules, but they use their brand colors. Some have got orange t-shirts, some have got blue, some have got red, and they use it to like what feels good for them, all within the brand guidelines, of course.
Yeah.
And they create their own vibe and their own tribe, and that's what I love about it. Is that yes, if you go to Scotland, you'll get the same big tops class as if you go to Exeter, but it'll be ran by different teachers, but with the same amount of love. That the kids love the teachers, no matter what teacher it is, but it's a
Yeah.
different teacher.
Yeah, because it's I mean, if I wasn't there a couple of weeks ago, I had to go have an operation. I wasn't at my school and I don't go anywhere near like I used to, but just on that week, I came back the following week and everyone was, where were you last week? Where were you? And it's like I was only gone for a week, I've only gone for a couple of days, but I think it's very tricky when you get to that point where your school's running without you. The school can run quite absolutely fine without me there, as I'm sure, yours could when you were running yours. But there is always that when it's your business, there's that kind of almost like face of the business, that trusty person.
Yeah,
And, I'm coming up for 50. I think people trust someone who's a little bit older as well. So
yeah,
actually they're not going into a class with someone who's 18. They're being, that their class teacher might be 19, 20. She
yeah.
might just be like drama school or whatever. But the actual person that's running it looks a little bit older,
Older.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit this. I mean, I don't know whether it's maybe just a psychological thing, but I think maybe when parents are taking their child to a class where it's someone very young,
Mm,
and there's that, oh, what are we going to expect from this today? You know,
yeah,
which is a shame because, I've got some teachers who are incredibly talented,
yeah,
and, I am training them now to do the meet and greets and things. So I'm
yeah,
not doing all of that. But I do think there is that the business owners there. It's almost like the cat's away, the mice will play a little bit, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
You
And
know?
I don't know if I hid behind, not hid behind, of course, because I didn't ever hide then, but with circus, had a lot of, is it, are you sure you're insured?
Oh my God, I can imagine.
To dangle your child from 1 foot 6 meters in the air? Nah, I didn't think I'd get insurance for that one. Yes, of course we are. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course. So I think that it's all very fun and very la 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 la. Come to our circus school, all very fun. You sign up, you get your trial, you get your welcome pack with all of the everything that you need to know, everything, including
But
yes,
then,
George.
but then, Jess, don't you get a million questions?
Do you know, I think it's answered. The franchisees do this well themselves. There's obviously templates that they can follow, but it's got everything that they could ever need in it. So,
Right.
and when I do shows or anything, I always write, if you ask me a question and it's already in this, then you owe me chocolate. So then they're always a bit like, oh damn, I can't ask her that. But I do,
I
yeah.
like that. I like that analogy. You owe
But
me a Reese's Pieces. That's my
yeah,
new favorite chocolate.
they used to come with chocolate behind their back, like I've got it just in case. But I'm gonna ask you.
I love that. that is it. That is going to be implemented into my school. It's funny actually because we go to Disneyland next week to perform. We're opening the parade in Disneyland Paris, and we had a message this morning from one of our parents saying, "I really apologize if this has already been answered, but I need to answer this question. Are we allowed to bring towels, or will the hotel provide them?" I was like, we've actually probably answered this question about 20 times, but no, it's fine. Let me check,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the crazy things that parents ask.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that chocolate trick is a good one. It's a really good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
with
try
loads of
that.
chocolate. It's brilliant.
Is it just one child you have?
Yeah, just the one. And
Just
two
one. And
cats.
and two cats. So how have you juggled the childcare a lot? Because I remember having a conversation with you a few weeks ago and baby was with you and
Yeah,
you were a bit like,
yeah. I was working from a co-working space where I had childcare at the same time, and it was amazing until he could walk.
ah.
And then when he could walk, it was just walking up to me, mama, mama. And I was like, I
Yeah,
can't do
yeah.
this. So he's, uh, Nana has him, he's in nursery twice. My mum has him, and then I have him on the Friday.
Oh,
So
that's good.
yeah, and Saturday and Sunday, obviously. So we do it between us. And he gets family time and 2 days in nursery. So he's doing really well.
Oh, that's
And
really good. It's hard because I remember the early days of having my little girl, and my business had only been open. I mean, the story goes, as some of you know who've listened in, it took me 7 years to have my little girl.
yeah,
So when she came, I just got married and I just opened my business because I thought, well, to be honest, we're not going to have, oh, there's one of your
yeah,
cats.
here's one of the cats.
Oh,
Well, he's more
um,
needy than the toddler.
oh, he's very cute. Yeah, because I was like, well, I'm not going to have a baby because it's not going to happen. So, let's just kind of, I kind of had that in my head of that's not going to happen. So let's just put everything I could into my school.
Mm.
And then the school suddenly went mental and I fell pregnant. Um, you
Ah!
know, so then I was in a situation where my little girl, I think the school had been running about a year and a bit, yeah, because her birthday's in January. So the school had been running just over a year and a bit. And I'm trying to run my school and build it because I wanted to be in a situation where I could grow the school to a point where I could go to assemblies, I could go to
Yeah,
watch weeks, I
yeah,
could go and pick her up and take her to school every day, which I still do now. I think when it's your own business, it's lovely to be able to do all those things, isn't it?
yeah, for sure. And it is very similar to me, Shelley. Like, I didn't think that children was on the card for me. I've got endometriosis, so I didn't think it was
Oh,
on the
same.
card for me either. So yeah, it's not well known enough about. But again, another chat for not when
That's
we're
another podcast. We could split this
yeah.
podcast into four.
But yeah, so I went full steam ahead, franchising the business, growing the business massively. Signed my first 2 or 3 franchisees, and then fell pregnant. So then I was like, oh.
Oh, here we go. But
They've
it's
been
funny, isn't
really
it?
understanding to me.
Oh, that's
So
good. Because actually,
yeah.
when I opened my franchise, 3 of us all fell pregnant the same year. It seems to
There's
happen
something
quite a
in the
lot.
water because we've got one in Scotland, one in Sheffield, one in Woking, and me. All got the babbas. Yeah. So I think there's something in the water.
Yeah, mate. I don't know whether it's maybe you either, like you say, it's not going to happen, and you're at that point in your life where you're going, do you know what? I'm going to do this and run the business. Or you're at a point where you just kind of, maybe you've danced or you've sung or you've, you know, breathed fire or
Yeah.
done whatever you've decided to do.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of transitioned, you know, and I think there's definitely a point where it's almost like a lot. I guess you've got to have a little bit of money behind you to buy a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it doesn't. Does it tend to attract people like mid-30s? Would you say?
So, I actually am one of I'm paired with NatWest, so you can get a business loan to buy a franchise from Showtime Circus because they have like my financials and they know that it works. So they're happy
Okay.
to back a business. So that has massively helped. And also there's another way you can do it
And
with a
just talk to us if somebody wanted to set up a franchise, because obviously, you know, somebody might be listening to this and thinking, do you know what? I'd really love to set up my own circus franchise. How fun would that be?
business.
You know, what is the kind of outlay of that? Because I think people sometimes think we buy a franchise and then I just get everything. Well, you still have to market it yourself. It's still a huge amount of work
Yeah,
that's needed, isn't there?
it's a lot of work. So you do get all of the equipment, systems, knowledge, power, marketing through me initially, definitely, but it is ongoing. You do have to keep working hard. The equipment for a circus school is like, of course, a lot more expensive than, a stage school franchise.
Yeah,
At the moment, our franchise is 9,995, and that includes all of your equipment, your
I
territory,
think
your
that's
email.
really good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's at an affordable price point, because I didn't want, again, impact over money. I didn't want financials to be a barrier. And also ethically, through British Franchise Association, you're not allowed to make money on your initial franchise fee. They say it's unethical to put profit on that initial franchise fee. So really that franchise fee is equipment and everything needed to get you going. And
Right.
then long term,
I mean, I'm really surprised it's as reasonable as it is, Jess, because I bought my franchise for, I think it was 8 grand 20 years ago.
yeah. And I think there's, some, don't know name them, other children's activities franchises that are the same price point of me, but don't include the massive equipment that you get
Yeah,
with
I mean,
me.
that's amazing. I think
But
that's
again,
really reasonable.
yeah, if somebody is passionate about wanting to make a difference to children's lives, I don't want money to be the barrier that stops them doing that.
Yeah.
So the franchise fee is affordable and you can pay it. I can't pay it over a year. That makes me become a bank, but you can pay it in installments. So
Okay.
it makes it really affordable for
Really
people to
accessible.
join the
Yeah.
franchise network.
That's amazing. And have you got
Yeah.
any franchisees in the pipeline at the moment or any areas
Going to
that
chat
are
to one tomorrow, so that's good.
right?
I would love one in Wales. Like, I'm just putting that out in the universe. We need a franchise in Wales.
Where is there anywhere near me? Because I'm
Yeah, so there's one in
Wokingham.
Woking. Yeah,
Oh,
Woking.
Wokingham I am. So Woking's about an hour away from me, hour and a
Okay.
half.
Yeah, probably the nearest one is Woking. Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
And so if they wanted to buy a franchise, they would just come and speak to you and go through your website, and they could just come, you know, initially pay for the fee, and then is there a training course they would need to go on, Jess, for that?
Yeah. So there's 3 days and it's CPD accredited. And so my training is for unlimited teachers because if I cap the amount of teachers you can do, I'm capping your growth. So I allow an unlimited amount of teachers to go through the CPD accredited teaching, which is 3 days long, and then they're ready to go teach. They're good to go. Well, they've got to do all the
Amazing.
online boring stuff, but
No, that's really exciting. And just before we go, I just wanted to just have a chat to you about your kind of transition to drama school. So obviously, I didn't realise you trained at Bird. So how was that kind of getting into, was it in Sidcup then?
yes,
Oh wow, yeah, because it's changed a lot, hasn't it, since
yes,
then? So was it Doreen Birds then, or was
yeah,
it just Birds? It was Doreen Birds, okay. So
yeah.
just talk to us a little bit about your time at drama school and how that was.
Oh, I loved it. I think I went when I auditioned, I got to Birds and I felt at home, which I think is amazing. So out of all of the big colleges I auditioned for, my heart was set on this. So when I got a scholarship, I was like, going.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. We ran in between everything. Like we had like different, it's not like it is now where it's all one big massive building.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I'd say probably very strong tapper of the group, um, musical theatre. I won Alcoholic of the Year, which I think is a big accolade.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah. Was that before
yeah,
you were at drama school or at the end?
at the end. Hilarious. But yeah, no, I loved it, and I think I've still got friends for life there, And I
Yeah,
did go
oh,
off. I did go off and
absolutely.
my dance degree. Like I used it. I performed all over the place. I was very much a dancer until you. I remember it was the riots in London, and my agent had asked me to do stilt walking. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I'll come and do it. And I had to forfeit one gig's fee was I to pay to still walk, learn how to still walk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like I
yeah.
had to do one gig for free to learn how to still walk. And we were doing the riot cleanup. That was my free gig. We were cleaning up, entertaining everyone that was cleaning up the riots. And one of my friends came to meet me from the West End. And what I would have been paid for that gig, one gig, is what he was getting for the whole week in the West End.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm going to carry on doing this.
100%.
That was
100%.
like, I'm talking 16, maybe longer, 17 years ago, because that was a long
Yeah.
time ago. But we had a very honest conversation. He's like, well, go on then. How much would you get for doing this then? And I told him, and he's like, that's what I get all week for 8 shows.
I can imagine. I mean, I've spoken about this quite a lot on my podcasts about the fact that but and I know you well enough that it's not about the money. It never was about the money for me. I remember going to see my first agent and me saying, and I think I've mentioned this on a few podcasts, saying, and she was like, "Oh, I'll put you up for TV and commercial," and I was like, "No, I just want to be in a musical," and I
Yeah.
really did. I
Yeah.
didn't care about being famous.
No. And
I
that was
remember.
me. I didn't care about the music, about the money. I think I got a bit bored doing the same thing every night. Like
It's
I'd done a
hard.
few things. It's hard, and some people can, and they do it for the absolute joy. But that's not wasn't my brain. I got very bored doing the same thing. When I was swing, that was probably the best.
Yeah.
But I didn't like doing the same thing, and this opened my eyes to a corporate world where I could be stilt walking one day, hanging upside down from a toe the next, and flying to Dubai the next. Like it was
And
literally that
teaching
was my
everybody
life.
else to do it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was
absolutely.
sort of what my calling was, I think, and why it appealed to me
Yeah.
so
I mean,
strongly.
the
Yeah.
days of, I mean, I remember doing 4 plays, all as lead characters, and being paid £252 a week. I
That's what I
mean,
was getting to still up.
and I didn't even care because I just
Yeah.
loved it. But when you just think like, how did I survive on that money? Well, I didn't. I was constantly in debt, and everything was on credit cards. Especially because
Mm.
my love for shoes, as many of you know. Um, but I'm obviously I've got a lot more pairs of shoes now. But I just think, how did I even survive during that? And these poor graduates that are coming out of college, I think it's got a lot better.
Yeah.
But there is still that maybe not being paid what you should be just because they know you will do it for nothing, you know?
Because it's the honor, isn't it, of doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And I think the industry has changed quite a lot. A friend of mine who I did panto with years ago, he's been in a recent production of Grease, and he's my age. And he said that actually this one of the young dancers in it, who's literally just out of college, like 19, had come up and said, "Oh, I've got some notes for you." And he said, I'm 50 years old and I've got a 19-year-old coming up to me and saying, "Excuse me, I've got a few notes for you tonight." Like, you wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare have done that to any of my
No.
older performers in my youth, just wouldn't have done. But yeah, I think it's a very much, and
No,
in
I
a
think
lot of
times
ways,
have changed.
yeah, I mean, very much, I think a changed industry in a lot of ways for the better. And some ways nice that that 19-year-old felt that he could go and say that. But equally, like, where is the respect of, this particular person that I know of has probably been in every West End show you can imagine. Mad.
That is mad. I just don't. It's a different world. Yeah, it's a different
Yeah,
world.
it
But
is.
then the young people have more opportunities than we ever got. So then they're coming out of some of them who take advantage of the opportunities are coming out of college with some incredible stuff on their CV.
Yeah,
And
and
then,
also
they've
incredible
always
skills.
been, yeah, and they've always been, the one who's come to do something for someone and done this opportunity and told they're amazing. And I don't know, it's hard because it's like, I do agree that that shouldn't be the case where 19-year-olds are given older, respected performers notes. But like, I don't know, it's just, they feel like, I don't
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
they
actually, in
feel like
some
it's
ways,
fine.
and you can flip that round, can't you? And go, do you know what? Actually, it's a company, and if somebody's got a problem, it actually doesn't matter about their age. The fact that they've got a problem, they should be able to come and say, "Yeah, actually, I don't like the way you're doing that, or I'm not happy with that." But again, I think because I'm from that industry of shut up, do as you're told,
Oh,
just
yeah.
go on and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which isn't the way it is now, which I think is really empowering and really amazing that it's not like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny how much it's changed the industry completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since back.
I don't envy them now because like honestly my career was built off, oh my goodness, Jess is really fun, get Jess on that gig. That was my career. Like, who do you want to work with? Jess. Okay, do you know, like, but now it's
Yeah,
like
that's lovely.
queues around the block for one job, and it's just, that's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. I mean, it was always hard, wasn't it? Definitely. But, I think, like you were saying, oh, Jess is the fun one. She's the reliable one. She's
Yeah,
reliable.
that's what you need to build
Yeah,
your
she
dream
won't let you
team.
down. She'll be
Yeah.
there come rain or shine. She'll be there half an hour before she'll be if the calls if the half hour calls at, 20 past 7, then she'll be there at 20 past 5.
Get ready. Yeah.
And I've still got that installed into me now, that discipline of being early. I mean, I
Yeah.
drive my husband mad because I'm literally early for everything. Uh,
Yeah, no, but I
you
do
know,
think it's like the respect of someone's time as well, though, isn't it? It's like, I think that again is a respect thing. If you're going to be late, then you have to say thank you for your patience because they've waited for you. So you have to
yeah.
show that they
And you
care.
very much take that into business, don't you, I
Yeah,
think,
you
as
do. Yeah,
well?
100%. Yeah.
Because I think, I wouldn't want anybody, like if I was coaching somebody, I wouldn't want somebody sitting there for 15 minutes waiting for me to get onto a Zoom call. It's just rude, isn't it?
Hmm.
But I wouldn't ever expect somebody to be late for a coaching call either. It kind of works both ways, doesn't it? Whereas, when you were
Yeah, yeah,
performing, you kind of knew that if you weren't there beforehand, sussing out that person that was before you, or you hadn't sussed out the audition room or heard what if that person's going to be singing, wouldn't it be lovely? And you're also singing it beforehand. You'd have to
yeah,
check that out, wouldn't
yeah,
you? I don't know, Jess, it's
yeah,
been so
100%.
so lovely to have you on today. I could literally chat to you forever. I can
I
see
know
why
we could chinwag forever,
we
sorry.
could. I can see why everybody wanted you on every contract because you are so fun. And I think the name Jolly Jess just suits you so much. Um, wishing you so much love and luck in your circus business. And
Thank
I'm going to
you.
just hand it over to you in terms of if somebody wanted to set up a franchise with you, where do they go?
So I would head to Instagram. Showtime_Circus. There's loads of Showtime circuses, so make sure it's that one, Showtime_Circus. Drop me a DM and we can go from there. To be honest, is the easiest way to do it.
Fantastic. And if you are enjoying this podcast today, please like, share it, and send it to all your darling friends and all your lovey friends and all your non-lovey friends, actually. Thank you so much, Jess. Best of luck with your new business and your franchise, and hope it continues to flourish in the way that it already has done. And I hope to see you very soon on your stilts.
Yay, why not?
Take care, my darling.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Treading the Boards to Business. We hope we added some sparkle to your day. Please like, subscribe and share our channel. And if you know of any lovers who may want to share their story, do get in touch. We hope the rest of your day is filled with glamour and glitter.